Start recording. Okay. Hit. Nope. Ugh. Okay. And hit. What the? I'm determined, goddammit. Were you spamming it the entire time?
Yeah.
That's some weird fucking delay. Did you see that shit? Dude, you literally came out of the stun, looked at me, and were like, okay, I think I'll death coil. What the fuck? Anyways, yeah, I guess I got what I need. That was beautiful. Huh. 43 seconds. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So as you can see, we've done a bit of a jump cut from that dueling expose to basically me just talking about what exactly we're observing there. So I got this information from Drakova, full stop. But I find it fascinating because Drakova might have got the idea from, well, he might have just experimented with it, but I guess I'll just shut up and explain what's happening. So basically what is happening is, as you see from the title of this video, Seal of Justice might be OP, is that due to either spell batching delay or melee hit delay or both, it seems to be that we can get off a Holy Light heal inside of a Seal of Justice stun, the 2-second Seal of Justice stun, um, from a, yeah, so that's, I guess that's literally what is happening. And the reason why this is big, this is particularly big for like rep paladins who can't just stop and heal whenever they want to, especially when they're using the two-handed weapons. I do believe Seal of Justice is a PPM-based swing. You saw me over there struggling significantly to get the stun to work with my fastest one-handed weapon that I currently have, which is 2-second speed Manslayer. But basically what this means is that we as paladins can it's not a twist. We can activate, not even activate. So what you do is you can't twist this, is what I'm trying to say, but I keep wanting to use the word twist here. But basically you can run up and you can smack somebody with a Seal of Justice, and inside that 2-second stun you can get off a Holy Light. Like, literally, that is what is happening. Now, I'll need to test it more. Like, as you saw with that test, what I was trying to do is I was trying to hit the target, and then even before the game registered the attack, I was healing, right? So I would click swing, and then I'd immediately start healing, and I'd be about 0.2 seconds into my heal or so before the game would register that the attack had happened, and then the game has to register that the target actually got stunned, and then it has to go into the 2-second timer, and then when the 2-second timer's out, there might even be some some spell batching delay on the back end, right? Because you saw Zach there, my warlock friend. He was spamming death coil the entire time he was stunned, trying to stop my heal, and he came out of the stun and he looked kind of sluggish before the death coil went off. So there might be some delay on the back end. I definitely know that we can work in some delay on the front end, as you saw there. I was healing, and then the auto attack went off. But irregardless, there was plenty of time, like a plethora of time, to get off that Holy Light within the 2-second stun from Seal of Justice. Now, as I was saying before, now that I got all my thoughts together, Seal of Justice is PPM, which means you're going to have a much higher chance of the stun going off with a two-handed auto attack than you are with a fast one-handed auto attack. Some other things that are of note, Drakova tells me about this, but I haven't had a chance to confirm them yet. If you do a wreck bomb into a target, and let's say like 4 Seal of Justices proc during your wreck bomb, it'll only stun the target for 2 seconds. They don't overlap one another. The other thing about Seal of Justice that is real nice is, I hope they're not saying anything dirty over here. That'd be funny. The other thing about Seal of Justice is it's on its own cooldown, meaning that you can stun a target for 2 seconds and then stun a target for 1 second with Seal of Justice, and then hodge them for 6 seconds and then grenade them for 1.5 seconds. Seal of Justice is on its own diminishing return cycle, and this is what is possibly going to make Seal of Justice overpowered as fuck, basically. Because now not only do I get to heal off of grenade stuns, and now not only do I get to heal off of Hammer of Justice stuns, but I having to respect the diminishing returns between the two, right? Like I Hammer Justice somebody, I heal up, I wait a few seconds for the DR to fall off. I honestly don't know how long it takes for the stun DR to fall off. Apparently, I'm going to have to look into that. But then later I decide I need to heal, so I grenade stun them for 3 seconds. I get in a heal. You get the rotation. Now what we can do is we can also weave in those 2-second justice stuns for full holy for big fat holy light heals. And that's like, so it'll be something like Seal of Justice, Holy Light, and then you're like grenade, Holy Light, and then Seal of Justice, Holy Light, and then Hammer of Justice, Holy Light, and then Seal of Justice, Holy Light, and you can basically just heal yourself without your opponent have any real say in the matter, which is also the super OP thing about this in general. And okay, we're still recording. So, if you recall, I used to talk about Mugahurt and how amazing Mugahurt is for the purposes of, just pull it up just in case, how amazing Mug of Hurt is for the purposes of healing, because the worst aspect about having to heal as a paladin, there's basically 2 really shitty aspects. The first one is that you have to root yourself in place in order to heal, which your opponent can do one of 2 things with. They can either get distance from you and subsequently greatly reduce the amount of DPS that you're able to pump into them, or they can they can do whatever it is they need to do to try to stop your healing, like throw a grenade or activate a trinket like Goblin Mortar or Death Coil you or Counterspell you or Earthshock you or whatever, right? We all know that Hammer of Justice heal is amazing, because while your opponent is stunned, 1, they can't run away from you, and 2, they have no option to stop your healing effectively. So if you recall, I was making a really big deal about how being able to slow our target lets us stop and heal and not lose the DPS aspect. We still lose the we still have the ability for our opponent to interrupt our heals, even with the slow healing process. But with this stun healing process that we're now going to be able to use with Seal of Justice, our enemies can't do fuck all. And the reason why that is such a huge deal is health totals. So, for example, roundabout where I feel comfortable healing, like let's say my opponent has a grenade, right? And I'm all over them, I'm beating the shit out of them, and then I'm looking at my life bar, and then I decide, okay, I need to stop and heal. He's got a theoretical grenade to interrupt my heal. When do I stop and try to heal? And the answer is maybe 50 or like about 55% life is where I would stop and I would heal myself. It varies with the class, right? Like an elemental shaman, you want to be healing at around 70% life. Maybe a little bit less, maybe 60%, depending upon what his cooldowns are and all that kind of stuff. But the fact that you have to plan out your heals around the Goblin Mortar, around the Grenade Stun, around Earthshock, and all those Death Coil and all those other things that could be coming your way, and the fact that you have to stop at such a high percentage of life and try to get a heal into you, that's kind of a big tactical weakness for the Paladin. The strength is that we can easily do that and get away with that and then keep coming. And as you remember when I was talking about the Mug of Slow, what's amazing about the Mug of Slow is that it pushes the option for people to get distance from us while we're doing the heal off the table. So, yeah, they can still interrupt us. Yeah, it sucks that we have to stop at high life and heal, but it's not going to matter because we're just going to heal to full no matter what they do, because we stopped at 70% life to heal. Grenade be damned, Goblin Mortar be damned, Earthshock be damned. We're not really going to care. We're just going to survive through all those stopping us to heal through it anyways, and we're right back on top of them almost instantaneously, and we're beating the shit out of them. But with the Justice stun, this pushes back the point where we have to stop and heal ourselves as a more holy style paladin to be below 50%. Like, we can now stop below 50% health and heal ourselves. Like, we're probably comfortable now being around 40% life and going, I might need to heal myself, or oh shit, here comes a grenade, blah 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 blah. So this makes us substantially more dangerous, especially if you factor in slow effects like Mugger Hurt, because before it was kind of before this free heal from Seal of Justice, the slow heals could be kind of touch and go. Like, sometimes you'll get the slow off, and it's like, oh sweet, now I have this huge window to stop and heal myself. That's awesome. Sometimes you wouldn't get the slow, and you'd just be kind of like, fuck, well, whatever. I guess I have to stop and heal myself now, and just let my opponent get distance from me and get his cooldowns back, and blah 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 blah. But with the Seal of Justice, yeah, you can basically be weaving in the Seal of Justices, and if you get the Seal of Justice, awesome, you heal yourself. If you don't get the Seal of Justice, you might get the slow, which is awesome, whatever, I'll just heal myself. So this is going to be pretty overpowered, to say the very least. Where this is by far at its most terrifying is going to be in in ret builds, though. Especially the ret builds that don't go anywhere near spiritual focus, like Ret Reckoning, for example, or Deep Ret. The fact that you have an additional stun to weave in with your big two-handed weapons, since the PPM of Seal of Justice is what it is, right? According to Jakova, it's he's got like somewhere in the vicinity of a 75-80% chance that when he wants to get a Seal of Justice proc, he can get a Seal of Justice proc. Don't ask me how. But yeah, so now that I've tested it, this is going to be overpowered as all fuck for deep retribution for deep retribution paladins, or for Ret Reckoning paladins, because now if you watch my video of, I think it's like Fresh 60 what to do now, and you go to the very end of that like hour-long video, I start talking about how Hammer of Justice stun for Deep Ret and Ret Reckoning is life. It is fucking everything for those two specs. The fact that you now have Hammer of Justice, Grenade Stun, and Seal of Justice stuns that you can heal off of, holy fuck. That is going to make Ret Reckoning probably one of the top tier builds for Paladin, like 110,000% absolute certainty. I would very much like Drakova to talk more about this, because he's a Ret Paladin, but yeah, the Seal of Justice stun and the fact that you can heal off of it, if Hammer of Justice and Grenade Stun were life on those classes, because you can't just stop and heal whenever you want to very well. Holy crap, having an entirely separate, highly reliable stun that you can pump Holy Lights through, holy god, that is amazing. Like I can't talk to you about how amazing this is. From a Holy Reckoning perspective, this is going to be amazing in a number of matchups, but it's particularly going to be awesome against Elemental Shamans. Because now what I can do is I can charge into an Elemental Shaman. I can charge into an Elemental Shaman, which you inevitably have to do. I can end up sitting... I'll probably get to the Elemental Shaman, and I'll survive the burst. Like, I'll get stunned, I'll get burst, and I'll survive the burst due to my gearing. With like 10% life. Theoretically, there are some tactical things I could do to survive with higher life, right? Like with trinkets, or can I hit the Nova Totem, or can I not hit the Nova Totem? But fundamentally, you just want to gear so that you're still alive after the burst. And typically, now what I can do is I can put that Wreck Bomb that I have into the Shaman with a Seal of Justice. I can watch that 2-second stun come off. I can immediately go for a heal. Now, the Shaman has basically two choices at that point. They can either trinket the stun, assuming they're even using the trinket, They can trinket the 2-second stun and try to interrupt my heal. That line of play would only work if they used the grenade stun while I was closing in, which is kind of difficult to do. Which is why you typically see them use War Stomp instead of the grenade stun while you're closing in, assuming they're a Tauren Shaman. I prefer the Orc Shaman over the Tauren Shaman, but that's because I'm a Paladin, blah, blah, blah. I don't like the stun resist. I'm much happier fighting a Tauren Shaman, even though they have the extra stun, just because I can stun them back and get a full heal off quite regularly. But even if they were an Orc, and even if they were an Orc with War Stomp, theoretically, that Wreck Bomb is going to stun them irregardless. Like they might resist the first one, but the second or third proc is going to get them. So anyways, they could trinket the 2-second stun and then try to interrupt my heal, but they're not going to be able to interrupt it enough to be able to kill me. And what's going to happen is Hammer of Justice is just going to come out and stun them for a solid 6 seconds, and that's a straight up full heal. Right? So what this means is I can physically close on top of a shaman and without having to use my bubble, as long as I can survive their burst, which you should be able to do with a Ripper with a Whipper Root. Like you pop Whipper Root somewhere in that closing, like you take the first lightning bolt hit, you eat a Whipper Root, and then you keep charging off into the shaman. There's almost nothing they can do to stop me from full healing off of a Seal of Justice and a Hammer of Justice, meaning no bubble, while being physically on top of them and while having taken their bursts to my fucking face. Like that is going to be a huge game changer in that matchup. And from my perspective, it turns the win rate from about 50-50 between two super experienced players to being closer to like a 70 or 80% win rate for the one-handed spell Reckoning Paladin. I would also highly suggest that, since this is definitely the case, since it's PPM, that you either go with a Ebon Hand, just because it has like stamina and some resists. You either go with an Ebon Hand when you're closing with your target, or you go with a Deathbringer when you're closing with your target, if this is the strategy you're going to attempt. Meaning, you're sitting back, you're rope-a-doping your enemy, you're getting a few wreck charges, all of a sudden it's go time, you run up to them, rather than doing damage with Seal of Righteousness or Command or whatever, you go with a Seal of Justice, you bitch slap them with the half a wreck bomb you have, and then you immediately switch into like a Manslayer or a Flurry Axe or whatever. But since the thing is PPM, I would highly suggest you go with a slower weapon, like a Deathbringer would probably be ideal. Ebon Hand is really shit at its proc rate. It's got a 3% proc rate. It's got like a 6% with Seal of Righteousness, which you're not going to be using in this case. But it comes with stats. That's kind of why Ebon Hand, I haven't just straight up vendored this damn thing yet, because it gives me 9 stamina and it gives me a little bit of fire resist, and that's actually a thing. But Deathbringer might theoretically be better, right? Just so we're clear on this, of that kind of playstyle. But yeah, man, it's looking like you can stun people with the 2-second stun from Seal of Justice pretty goddamn consistently. Doesn't even take a bunch of skill, and you can get a Holy Light within that 2-second stun. This also means that within the Diminishing Return 1-second stun, you can get off a Flash of Light. That probably will not be a thing, because you're getting off a Holy Light already, so why the hell do you need an extra Flash of Light? But it's there if you need it. And yeah, I guess I'm just going to conclude the video here of why Seal of Justice might be OP as fuck, man. Holy shit. It's clearly happening because of spell batching. I'm not sure if it's entirely on the front end, or if it's the fact that I was weaving both front end and back end, right? Like somebody would have to test it. Like the way you would test it would be you hit with Seal of Justice. You're actually dumb enough to wait to see if the stun goes off. The moment you see the stun go off, you go for the Holy Light and you see if they can stop you. If they still can't stop you, then holy crap, you could no-brainer off a Holy Light. But if they can stop you from that experiment, then it becomes obvious that what you need to do is you need to start your melee swing and then immediately go into the heal. and hope the Justice Stun goes off. If the Justice Stun doesn't go off, just immediately stop the heal. You won't lose any DPS. It'll effectively act like you fake casted the opponent, basically. And you basically try again on the next melee swing. But you're casting preemptively before even the auto attack goes off, as you saw at the beginning part of this video. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. The wife is a little pissed off. She wants me to do some housework. I was raiding last night, so I didn't get a chance to. And yeah, I guess I'll just keep finding OP shit for you guys. Again, 110,000%. This was a Drakova discovery. It might be that Drakova thought that he could get away with something like this after he saw my rogue video, and he discovered that, in fact, due to delays with the Hammer of Justice stun, that you can get off 2 Holy Lights within a Hammer of Justice stun despite the global cooldown being 1.5 seconds. Just because when you do the Hammer of Justice stun, you can see there's a delay between clicking Hammer of Justice to go off and then when it actually affects the target. And there might be also some back-end delay, as you saw in the beginning part of the... back-end? Yeah, back-end delay, as you saw in the beginning part of this video, where, yeah, Hammer of Justice stun wears off, but the game is still spell batching and taking time to register that it's actually off and letting you do anything. But yeah, so you can stun them for 6 seconds. You can get off 2 Holy Lights in that amount of time, just boom, boom. And that might have gotten Drakova thinking consciously or subconsciously that, well, fuck, if it's working with that, maybe it'll work with Seal of Justice, because it was within 1 week or so after he did the Rogue video, I think, that he discovered this. And we just haven't had the time to playtest it, because things have been going on. But yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and Deus Vult, for sure, definitely.